Guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's review video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the brand new, the brand new Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet Palette. Now this is the newest Naked installment. They're basically pumping these out. They did also do the Naked Honey recently, but that was like months ago and I only just recently got it, so I'm not even going to bother doing a review on that video. That one's kind of like old news, so we're going to be talking about this one today. I'm actually quite intrigued by this palette. It's very, very different looking to a lot of the other Naked palettes because obviously they're naked. So this one's quite different in the fact that it hasn't necessarily really got naked colors in it. There's some brights in it, and there's also this really cool holographic shifty kind of a color. So yeah, we're going to be testing it out, having a look, and finding out whether or not it's actually worth the money and worth you picking up. Now, as per all of my eyeshadow video reviews, I'm going to be doing swatches. I'm going to show you the palette nice and close up so you can see exactly what it looks like, and then I'm going to be doing like a look with it, testing out how the shadows go, seeing, you know, putting it through its paces, seeing how it goes, and then like I said, letting you know whether or not I think it is worth the money. So if you were interested in all of my thoughts and a straight up review of the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet Palette, please keep on watching. All right, first up, price-wise, this one is going for $49 US. That translates to 83, or at least I can see online. It's for sale here in Australia for $83 here at Mecca. The unit carton that it comes in is quite pretty. It's nearly like purple, sort of marble looking. It looks very, very luxe. So this is what the box looks like. It's very pretty. And then the back of the box, you can see the shades down the bottom. You do get a double-ended brush inside this one as well. Now the description makes it sound very, very cool. We're breaking the color spectrum with the Naked Ultraviolet Eyeshadow Palette. It's a supercharged lineup of 12 intensely pigmented mattes, metallics, and holographic shimmers. And they say that it's a lucid dream come to life, which kind of terrifies me. Lucid dreams are awful experiences. Now, one of the shades in this palette is also a holographic pearl transformer. That's the shade Lucid, and apparently that one can be used over top of the other shadows to give them like a really pearlized sort of a different finish. So that does sound pretty cool. So that is the outer packaging. Now moving on to the actual like palette packaging. Oh, seriously, it is pretty. I cannot deny that this palette is very nice to look at. She's easy on the eyes. So it's a plastic external case, and that is what the front looks like. It's just gorgeous. It's got all this purple marble detailing. The actual word, like the actual Naked and then Urban Decay not Ultraviolet, just Urban Decay is embossed and sort of in pink metallic. You really can't see how beautiful this palette is until you actually see it in person. Like the camera's probably not at all going to do it justice. And then opening it up, this is what the inside of the palette looks like. Now I have actually already swatched this, so mine is a little bit sort of messed up, but I do have footage which I'll overlay that shows, you know, all these shadows close up untouched and how they will arrive if you are going to invest in this one. So like I said, you do get a double-ended brush. We will obviously be testing that one out today. I'm really not usually a huge fan of the double-ended brushes that come with palettes. I typically end up just tossing them and using my own brushes normally, so I'm sure that's potentially going to be the case again today. But the colors in this are very interesting. So obviously she's not a naked palette. I really like the color spectrum. If you were to cover up this whole section here, you could totally do like a really wearable, everyday, neutral kind of a look with it. So I do like that it kind of caters for everything in that sense. So if you're wanting something for work, you've got it. And then if you're wanting something for after work, for like drinks or a party or something, you also have that too. This lucid shade here in the center looks very, very interesting. I did swatch all of the colors. I will quickly show you that footage as well. I must admit I was a little disappointed in how a lot of the colors translated onto my skin, but I do have soft tanner on, so a lot of them aren't really going to be showing up too much in comparison to how they may sort of show up on my eyes. So we will see, you know, as we go, as we actually test this, whether or not they actually do have lots of pigmentation, but a couple of them were quite chalky. And the shimmers as well, I just didn't get that really rich, buttery, nearly wet shimmer feeling from swatching them. Like they did kind of feel quite powdery and dry. The shimmer formulas are different in this one. A couple of them are standards. There is a duochrome sort of a shimmer, or two duochrome shimmers, Warning, this pink one, and then Lucid as well. But then Dazed, VR, Cyberpunk, and Purple Dust, they're shimmers, but they also have a little glitter reflex in them as well. Whether or not you're going to be able to see that from the swatches, I don't know, but I can see that from looking here at the palette. Tripping is quite nice. I do quite like the highlight color in this. It's not chunky. I have found, you know, with other Urban Decay Naked palettes, some of the, you know, like the brow bone highlight shades, some of them have been a little bit chunky. This one's really, really smooth. It nearly has sort of like a matte texture, but with a very subtle shimmer to it. It'll be a really, really natural brow bone highlight. So yeah, that's kind of a bit of an overall look at the palette, the shades that we're looking at, the textures that we're looking at. Let's jump into an actual demonstration. See how it goes, basically on my eyes. See how this thing performs. All right, so I popped some eye primer on, zoomed you guys in. Let's do this. First up, I'm gonna go in with Mind Slip. Now, this is like a peachy apricot kind of a shade. Did find it to be quite chalky when swatching, so we'll see how it goes. And you do get a reasonable amount of sort of kickback in the pan when dipping into it. Like it's sort of more loosely pressed. So picking that one up on a large fluffy brush, I'm going to work that into the crease. Now this is going to be our transition color, obviously. And it's not really sort of showing up on my skin too much. Oh, hang on, with the second coat, that's a little bit better. So it gives a very slight peachy wash to the skin. It definitely isn't anything sort of too crazy over the top. So I'm just going to smudge that all the way through both of my creases and kind of blend it outwards as well. I really want to play with Lucid. The Lucid shade in this looks so, so pretty. And I'm also thinking perhaps some of these like bright purples as well. I mean, obviously we have to try a purple. Hello. But yeah, I don't know, based on the swatches, and obviously I tell you guys this all the time, like a swatch is never an indicator of how a shadow is going to perform, but the swatches in this I did find like to be particularly sort of disappointing in comparison to other naked palettes that I've reviewed here on my channel. And if you are interested in seeing those videos, I will link them down below. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. I'm going to go in with Optimized now, which is like the pastel purple. It's more of like a lilac shade. And I'm going to pick that one up on a smaller blending brush. Just a sort of little short one. And I'm going to put that in my crease more directly than the previous color. But this one's also going to act as a little bit of a transition to soften out the edge of the shadows. To be honest, it's sort of just completely disappearing into the skin. It's not really showing up too much. I mean, it's a pastel lilac, like it's a very light color. All right, instead, let's try out Euphoric. Euphoric is this one here. It's like a kind of sort of like a duochrome purple. It's got a little bit of a shift to it. I'm just taking that on that same blending brush. And I'm going to pop that one in the crease now. Also not really showing up. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll try packing instead. Oh, I was really excited about how this palette looked, but it's not really performing well at all. Oh, going back in with that blending brush I started with, and I'm just going to basically buff over all of that. It pretty much has entirely disappeared on my eye. Like, does it look like I'm wearing something that's like a lucid dream, except in real life? For me, not so much. Not so much. I'm just going to add that on the other side as well. Oh, it's kind of packing up a little bit better on that side. I wonder why. So maybe this one you can't use over top of other shadows. Like maybe it needs to be on, like directly on a primer. Although this eye had the same amount of shadow as this one. Maybe it was like a top coat. It's showing up a little better. I'm going to take a flat packing brush now and I'm going to go into Cyberpunk, which is this shimmery deep purple here. That's what it looks like. And pack that into the center of my eyes. Honestly, all of these colors are just blending into each other and it just looks like a big mess. Let's try that one on my finger. Even when dipping into it, like it's very thin and you don't really get, like it doesn't feel like you pick up too much of the actual shadow. And I really am pressing it on my lid. I would expect a lot more payoff. Like I'm really rubbing my finger in this. And I'm hardly getting any payoff at all. Alright. Okay, we'll try this one a different way. I'm going to wet my brush now. If this ends up being like a total fail of a video, I'm going to be annoyed. Going back into that purple shade, picking it up on a wet brush. You get more payoff with a wet brush, definitely. But still not, it's honestly still not heaps. It really is still not heaps of payoff. I would be expecting a lot more than that. Adding it on to try and sort of make it work. So applying it with a wet brush and then going back over it and patting it on with my finger probably I would say gives the best payoff. But by no means is that an easy color to apply, and it's by no means an easy color to actually get show up on your eyes. All right, let's switch things up and actually try these two deep shades here now. I might try Purple Dust first, and then if that doesn't work, we'll use this digital one here. Digital's sort of like a blacky, smoky, brown kind of a color, and Purple Dust is like a dark purple. Honestly, what? Am I being punked, guys? Am I being punked? Guys, these shadows hardly show up. And look how chunky and like patchy that is. Can you see the patchiness that's happening there? Ooh, okay. Swapping brushes, I'm going to go into digital. The darkest shade in the palette. I'm just going to try packing that over the top. And going back in with that other brush, smudging. And as I'm blending out this shadow, and I mean, don't worry about the fallout, like they're dark colors, you're going to get fallout. But as I'm blending out this darker purple color, it's actually completely knocking off that purple that we applied earlier. It's lost its intensity, it's lost its vibrancy. All right, I've cleaned up the fallout a bit. I mean, it's starting to look smoother. It's still not really. These are hard shadows to work with, guys. Quite difficult shadows to work with, honestly. Okay, let's keep going. Let's give the brush that came with the palette a little go, see if we get a different result using this. So I'm going to take the fluffy blending end of this, and I'm going to pick up digital, that same dark shade in the outer corner here, and I'm going to see if I can blend with this in the outer corner of this eye. It's definitely way less patchy if you use the digital shadow before that dark black purple, before Purple Dust. Way less kind of patchy, but look. Like, there's just no payoff at all. Just don't know. All right, I'm going to go in with Purple Dust now. That's what gives it like this sort of purple bluish sheen to it as the other eye. Guys, this is a hot dang mess. This is seriously a hot mess. Oh no. All right, wet brush, going back into Cyberpunk again. And really getting it in there, smudging that, picking up as much color as possible, which really, you hardly get any. I'm gonna pack that on the center of the eye again because blending that dark color sort of knocked all that off, which I really wouldn't expect, you know, because it was applied with a wet brush in the end. It's a little better. I just feel like I look like a mess now, I'll be completely honest. Okay, first we'll try Lucid on a dry brush. So we'll go in with the brush that comes with the palette because obviously this is how they're meant to be used. Lucid is the really, really cool pearlized reflective kind of shade. And picking that up, I'm gonna pack that. Oh, okay, so this has got payoff. Interesting. This is the first shadow that we've come across in this palette that has like quite a significant payoff to it. Now, this shadow I believe is designed to be used over top of the other ones as well to give them like a pearlized finish. Ooh, and that does work. Okay, at least we've got something here. Ooh, okay, that looks a lot better than it did. We've kind of covered up a lot of that purple though, so I'm going to go back in with the brush, pack it on the inner corner. Now, a lot of this will be cleaned up once we put concealer on and stuff later, but pack it on with the brush and start to sort of sweep it on the lid. It doesn't, with the brush, with the dry brush certainly, you can't pack it on top of another color. It just basically doesn't show up. You do need to use, I mean, from what I can tell, you do need to use your finger to sort of do that. So then packing it over top of the rest of those colours. It's got a really pretty like bluish kind of a shift. And it does look quite nice. But I mean, are you going to spend all this money for a palette that's got one shade that performs well? I will not let you do that. I will not. All right, let's try that highlighter shade because I was quite impressed with that one. So picking that up on a flat brush. It's a little powdery. I'm going to put that on my brow. It definitely sort of tidies things up a bit, but you could probably even use this one if you wanted to, you know, set down your eyeshadow base before going in and applying the palette, because it's almost a matte. It's got a very, very slight shimmer in it, but hardly any at all. I mean, am I happy in any way with how this is looking? No. No, I'm not. I really like that lucid shade. I feel like that shade's quite cool. It's quite different. But all the others, like if I'm being completely honest, have left me feeling fairly underwhelmed. All right, I'm gonna jump off camera really quick and quickly pop on some mascara and the rest of my makeup. And then I'm gonna be back to give you my final thoughts on the Urban Decay Ultraviolet. All right, guys, so I finished off the rest of my makeup. Now that everything's sort of put together and everything's finished and I've got lashes on and stuff, it's looking a lot more neat and tidy. I did fiddle with it a little bit. I did make, you know, that, what was that color called? That ultraviolet-y, the lucid shade. I made that a little bit more vibrant, played with it, tried to blend it a little bit more. Obviously, now that I've got, you know, concealer, everything else on, it's looking a lot more pulled together. But guys, I feel like you know where this is going. There's no way I'm ever going to recommend an eyeshadow palette to you that is that difficult to use. Firstly, the matte shades that I used, they didn't really show up on my eyes at all. That was both this sort of peachy apricot one and the purple one. The purple one in particular, I was like, where is that color? Like, it's not there on my eyes at all. All four of these colors at the end of the palette are very much like they're patchy, they're chunky, they're very difficult to blend with. When you apply them, there's not really that much pigmentation or payoff, and then you blend them and it pretty much blends them entirely off the eyes. So I don't know what's going on there. This shade here and also this sort of purple color here as well, there's no payoff. There's I don't know what's got, I feel like I'm being punked. Like, what has gone on with this palette? I have loved pretty much every single Urban Decay palette that has come out, and I'm just like, this one, I was like, this is a train wreck, it feels. Like, I don't know what's gone wrong. The only shade in this palette that I would recommend is the Lucid shade. It honestly is a really, really cool shade. Super, super vibrant, super pigmented. You know, it looks awesome on its own on the skin. It works with a dry brush on its own. And then when it's packed over top of other shadows, it definitely transforms them, gives them this really cool bluey, you know, very vibrant kind of a look. Overall, I feel like the eyeshadow look turned out. I'm not going to lie, this eye is stinging so bad. It started stinging when I applied the Lucid color, so maybe I got a little bit of it in my eyes and it's irritating them. But yeah, guys, I'm going to have to say a big thumbs down on this palette. Like, it's not worth the money. I would expect, like, for that price, I would expect every single shadow in this palette to work for you, to be easy to blend, to be pigmented and creamy and buttery. And, you know, as you saw here on camera, it just really was very, very difficult to use. I will obviously give it another go. I always give palettes another go after they've failed me, you know, like the first time, just in case it's me. Because it's user error. Yeah, this Urban Decay, what's going on here? What's going on in the packaging? Like, I'm really disappointed because when I saw the shades in this, I was like, oh, that is the coolest looking naked palette ever. You know, really, really nice, very different mix of colors in this. I loved the color spectrum. Like I said, I loved that there was neutrals for every day, that there was like deeper, amazing like purples and vibrance for when you want to add a little bit of color to your look. But yeah, these just do not perform well at all. I should have known from the swatches. I probably should have known from the swatches, and the packaging as well. It's so pretty. So yeah, Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet does not get a pass from me. It does not get a thumbs up from me. In fact, I'm going to be saying, you know, based on my experiences and my opinion, I'm going to be saying it might be a good idea to avoid this one. Yeah, personally I feel really, really disappointed, and yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to take this makeup off straight away. I'm not even gonna be able to wear it all day because my eyes are honestly stinging. They look red. They probably look really red. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on the palette. Have you tried it? What were your results? I would be super, super, super interested to know if you've got it and you actually love it and it performs well for you. Maybe there's a little bit of inconsistency between batches or something. For me though, I mean, you saw what happened. It looks cute now. Like, I feel like it doesn't look so bad now. And I quite like the way that this looks on my eyes, but yeah, let me know what you think. All of your thoughts. Let me know what you want to see reviewed next. Maybe I should review the Naked Honey based on this experience, because I wonder if that one's any good or if it's sort of like the same kind of a situation. Maybe I should do that. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Any other video requests that you want to see, any questions that you've got, or comments or concerns or whatever it is, pop them down there. Sorry that today's video was disappointing, but yeah, it is what it is. That's part of reviewing makeup. All right, guys, I love you heaps, and I will catch you in my next video.